Northwest breeze 15 to 25 miles per hour. Keep in mind that.
Good morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along this morning. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, of course, today, celebration of that. Actually, his birthday's not today. It's being celebrated today. And Donald Trump will be sworn in. So let's get to it.
The Doctor of Discernment is on the air.
I love the Greg Belfrage Show.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio. Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show on this Monday, January 20th. And let's start with the celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. Today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It means the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ will be closed today. Today is a federal holiday. Also, what will that mean in terms of mail delivery? Federal Reserve banks, the United States Postal Service locations will all be closed today. So a number of USPS services will also be suspended. The exception would be Priority Express Mail. That operates 300 every day of the year. So banks will be closed, many banks, but of course you can still bank digitally. So let's begin this morning by recognizing the Martin Luther King Jr. Day today. Before we move on to news in Trump world, because it's just electric. I mean, seriously, you're seeing that already. You had Donald Trump's victory rally at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. yesterday. So the rally was opened by Kid Rock, as well as some other musical acts who were also there. And Kid Rock yesterday morning on X said, "So looking forward to playing for We the People today at the MAGA victory rally." He said, "Gonna be an epic year for all, I feel. America is so back," he said. And he sang a number of songs. He was pretty fired up. He asked the crowd, "Is MAGA in the house?" And then he performed songs like All Summer Long, We the People, and others. There were quite a number of folks there. John Voight will be one of Donald Trump's envoys to Hollywood. John Voight was there. I like John Voight quite a little bit. And he said, "What an honor it is for me to be up here in front of you. Great men and women who've all come here to celebrate the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time. The victory we were all fighting for," he said, "to save our country, our democracy. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to say that Donald J. Trump is the 47th president of the United States. And now he will make America thrive again. He will make America great again, safer again. And we, the people, will honor our flag again. He will bring God back to the nation's truths. He will make her thrive again. He will save the greatest country, America," Voight said. So now keep in mind, John Voight, along with Mel Gibson and Sylvester Stallone, and I shared news of this last week because Trump had announced that they would serve as special ambassadors to Hollywood. So John Voight was there. As far as Trump's comments at the victory rally last night, Trump said, "We put America first, and it all starts tomorrow. We begin a brand new day of American strength and prosperity, dignity, and pride," Trump said. And now following Trump's inaugural address today, as far as what will be happening today. So there'll be a lot of things that'll be taking place, because there'll be a formal farewell for President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris. So they'll be leaving the Capitol. And then minutes later, members of Congress will watch as Trump and J.D. Vance take part in a signing ceremony, followed by a lunch and then a review of the troops. Trump will then return to Washington, D.C.'s downtown arena for an abbreviated parade. Now, that was moved indoors because of the frigid weather. Boy, we're experiencing that this morning in this part of the world. Wow. Very cold this morning. So cold also in Washington, D.C. So the ceremony has been moved indoors. And then Trump is expected to sign more than 200 executive actions on his first day in office. And I saw a piece this morning where a member of Trump's team had said, well, why don't we just spread them out over the first couple of weeks rather than doing them all? And Trump is like, to hell with that. I mean, see, that's what Trump said. We're not doing that. We are right out of the gate. So this evening, Donald Trump will be signing those executive orders. So over 200. And one of the people that will be a senior administration official for Trump said that he will today end the catch and release of illegal immigrants. He will pause all offshore wind leases, terminate the electric vehicle mandate, abolish the Green New Deal, withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord. Trump did that the first time he became president as well. So he will withdraw from that. He'll take several major steps to assert presidential control over the federal bureaucracy. And Trump then, during the rally last night, said, by the time the sun sets tomorrow evening, the invasion of our borders will have come to a halt, and all the illegal border trespassers will, in some form or another, be on their way back home, Trump said. We're going to end the Biden war on American energy and unleash our energy resources to quickly defeat inflation and achieve the lowest cost of energy and electricity on earth. I mean, this is just welcome news it's welcome by so many Americans. So there was in this Fox News report, they talked to a political scientist who's a veteran political scientist. And he said, on this day, the U.S. will witness the return of President Trump at the zenith of his political power. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, isn't it? It's just absolutely mind-boggling to me because there were some pretty dark days during the Biden administration and the lawfare that was being waged against Donald Trump. And I think some of those days were pretty dark, and you didn't know whether Donald Trump was going to wind up in prison and, potentially then for the rest of his life, and what that might look like, all of those things. And this is just such a far cry from that. And I asked this question this morning on Facebook, and I think a number of people have put their finger on it, because I asked them, I touched on the big MAGA rally that they had last night, and, very briefly touching on a few of the things that happened. And I said, how are you feeling? As Donald Trump begins now his second term, hopeful is what a number of people were saying on Facebook. And I welcome you to join the conversation as well. I love your thoughts. So please share them with me on Facebook. So Donald Trump also saying, and this was yesterday, he will release government files on the assassinations of John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr. certainly appropriate now as we're on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So Trump said, as the first step toward restoring transparency and accountability to government, we will also reverse the overclassification of government documents, he said. And in the coming days, we're going to make public remaining records relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert Kennedy, as well as Dr. Martin Luther King. And that was one of New York Post says that drew one of the loudest applauses of the night when Trump said that. So he had, now keep in mind, he had talked about releasing those JFK files previously. Wasn't it Mike Pompeo who talked him out of that? I think it was Mike Pompeo during the first Trump administration. Mike Pompeo had talked Donald Trump out of releasing those, because that's where Trump was inclined to do that the first time he was president. And now he's saying he's going to make good on that he will release all of those documents. So Elon Musk was among those that also joined Donald Trump on stage. And Trump said, we're also going to slash something else. The waste in our bloated federal bureaucracy. We will create a new Department of Government Efficiency headed by a gentleman named Elon Musk. And Musk said they're looking forward to making a lot of changes, he said. We're going to do great things here, Musk said. He was out there with his son, and they were dancing on this. It was pretty fun to watch that. And you say Donald Trump with the Village People, because they closed out the rally. It was the Village People, and so the Village People are out there and they're performing, and about about maybe 15 feet behind them stands Donald Trump. He's also on the stage, but he's behind them as they're performing. And he's out there doing his signature, fist pumping as they're going. Big smile on his face as the Village People perform. So again, he plans to sign 200 executive actions today. Border security, DEI, energy, other issues. Officials are saying that he will sign multiple omnibus executive orders that each contain dozens of major executive actions. Fox News says that Trump will reinstitute the Remain in Mexico policy, direct the military to construct a new area of border wall. He will grant emergency authorities to suspend the entry of illegal aliens across the southwest border. That would allow then for individuals who are caught to be swiftly returned to where they came from. So this official told Fox the energy executive order deals with every single energy policy, addresses liquid natural gas, ports, fracking, pipelines, permitting, and more. And, well, they're also saying that terminating these Joe Biden policies that have constrained the U.S. energy supply. So he's just a lot of things that he is. Day one, he will also end all diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the federal government, the new Department of Government Efficiency, hiring freeze. No, we're talking about a federal government hiring freeze. And one official said he is reasserting muscular control of the executive branch of the U.S. government. He'll sign a presidential memorandum directing all agencies and departments to remove all federal actions that increase costs for families and consumers. And this will be part of Trump's deregulatory effort, which the second term will be focused on. So deregulating the federal government. This is just absolutely, and I don't know how much of this will actually come to pass, but it's very, I think a lot of us have very much hope. So in the midst of all this, Donald Trump will also suspend the security clearances of 51 intelligence officials who had implied that the Hunter Biden laptop, they had said it was a Russian fake. It was a Russian fake. And which we know now, of course, well, that was an absolute lie. These 51 intelligence officials showed that when it came to intelligence, they didn't have a lot of that going on. So Trump will repeal their clearances. These are the so-called spies who lie. And that'll be part of the executive orders that he'll be signing on his first day today. So just a whole lot that Donald Trump is. And again, I was pretty, I thought it was pretty telling that you had somebody within Trump's team who was saying, well, why don't we space out these executive orders? Let's do it over a span of, the first 3 weeks or a month or something like that. And Donald Trump was like, hell no, we're not doing that. No, I'm doing them day one. He's sending a very clear message, I think, is what if he winds up doing that, and I fully expect that he will. Also, yesterday, other stories that are out there, TikTok restoring service after Donald Trump announced a 90-day extension. So yesterday, TikTok said it was in the process of restoring its service in the U.S. because it was down for a period of time over the weekend. And Donald Trump saying he would sign an executive order today to not hold companies liable for providing services that keep TikTok up and running. And TikTok said, as they were restoring service, they said, we thank President Trump for providing the necessary clarity and assurance to our service providers that they will face no penalties providing TikTok to over 170 million Americans and allowing over 7 million small businesses to thrive. And they said it's a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship. We will work with President Trump on a long-term solution that keeps TikTok in the United States. So yesterday, Trump, this was early yesterday, he said he would issue an executive order today and, to extend the period of time before the law actually takes effect so that we can make a deal to protect our national security. So it does not appear at this point that Donald Trump is backing down on anything in regard to TikTok, very concerned about national security. So TikTok on Saturday night had removed its app from the Apple App Store. And there's been a lot of hysteria from some of those using TikTok. Another significant story this morning, after more than 15 months of war between Israel and Hamas, the ceasefire going into effect yesterday, and there are a number of stories about the hostages being released and what they've gone through. So the hostages have been released. Some have already been reunited with their family. And President Joe Biden said he was pleased that his team and Trump's worked together to make the deal a reality. President said now it falls on the next administration to help implement this deal. I was pleased to have our team speak as one voice in the final days. He said it was both necessary and effective and unprecedented, but success is going to require persistence. Well, that's something Donald Trump has got a lot of. I'm not too concerned about that. Donald Trump seems to have a lot of persistence. So that also is a big story this morning. So let's leave it there as we get underway. That's the top news this morning. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. 6:26, and it's very cold. 8 below. It feels like 27 below. And you're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
Nights 5 to 8. Kello News Talk 1320.
Man, it is cold.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires. They give you more pleasure in automotive sports. Attention golfers, stop paying for green fees. Now is the time to purchase your 2025 Sioux Falls Golf Season Passes. All season passes now through January 31st are 15% off. With options for juniors, seniors, and everyone in between, find the perfect pass for you and your family. Enjoy your city courses, Prairie Green, Elmwood, and Keene Park. Shop and save today at SiouxFallsGolf.com. What are you waiting for? Visit SiouxFallsGolf.com and experience why we are golf.
Unsure about your Medicare options? Call McGreevy and Associates, a fourth-generation insurance agency.
We assist you with your Medicare options, whether you're new to Medicare, just reaching in, or been on Medicare for some time.
This is Michelle McGreevy Lawler, and we're here to help and answer your questions.
Call McGreevy and Associates or visit us at McGreevyAssociates.com.
McGreevy and Associates, Medicare, individual health insurance, and employee benefits. If you have insurance questions, McGreevy has the answer.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
All right.
See website for additional details.
Former CIA officer Jason Hansen here. As someone who's dedicated my life to protecting people, I know the importance of guarding what matters most. Right now, with global instability and the dollar's declining value, that means securing your financial assets with gold. For me, I trust Advantage Gold with my own investments. Give them a call at 800-900-8000 for a 100% free gold guide. Again, call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 today.
Paid for by Advantage Group. Past performance does not indicate future results. Always consult your financial and tax professional.
I served almost 6 years in the Army.
10 years, great years in the Navy.
And I joined the Marines in 2016. I was a senior in high school.
My family really wants to be settled in one place.
I got so much experience in technical training in the Army. Now I want to turn that into a civilian career, but I still want to serve. Also, the benefits are so important to us.
I'm ready to go to college now. I want to give back too.
Get the best of both worlds in the South Dakota Army National Guard. Serve your country and your community part-time while you live your life as a full-time citizen soldier. With 60 units in over 100 occupations in South Dakota, you and your family can stay grounded, close to home. Keep the benefits going. Work toward your 20. Maybe take on the new MOS and gain extra skills.
I joined the Guard because I still feel a sense of duty.
The word Army is still going to be on my uniform, but now I get to add the patch of the state I live in.
Visit nationalguard.com/SD to learn more. Sponsored by the South Dakota Army National Guard, aired by the South Dakota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Another cold day today. High temperature near zero. Northwest breeze 15 to 20 miles per hour. Expect those wind chills in the minus 20s, minus 30s on occasion during the morning hours. Very cold tonight.
Feeling like Mr. Freeze.
And for tomorrow, a little warmer. Partly cloudy, high of 18. Southwest winds 10 to 15. By KELOLAND Storm Center.
And it's in Falls at 6:30. Very cold, 8 below. It feels like 27 below. Get you an update from Fox News Radio coming up. Then we'll jump into the Kello.com News Center. Joe Bowman will have headlines coming up for you. You're listening to Kello.
With a few hours left in office, President Biden issues preemptive pardons for Dr. Anthony Fauci, retired General Mark Milley, and members of the congressional committee that investigated the January 6, 2021.
Yeah, that is
riot.
just crazy. Preemptive pardons.
President-elect Trump when he becomes.
What a record this guy leaves.
Today, 8 years after his inaugural as the 45th.
You ever been more glad to see somebody leave office? Seriously, I can't think of a time ever in my lifetime that I've been so glad to see somebody leave office.
The ceremony begins around 11 a.m. at the Capitol. After that, Trump will deliver his inaugural address. President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris will leave the Capitol after those ceremonies.
Fox's Madeline Rivera in D.C. Inaugural events are being held indoors because of cold weather there. There are winter weather alerts across the South. Extreme fire weather conditions are back in the forecast in Southern California. America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. The South Dakota legislature is not in session today as they observe the federal Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. This week, lawmakers in Pierre will deliberate on Governor Noem's proposal to cut funding for public broadcasting in the state by more than half, from nearly $6 million down to just $2 million. Also this week, the House will start debate on 2 bills that would establish educational savings accounts, moving state funds for private education use. The 100th legislative session resumes tomorrow. The South Dakota Legislative Committee has started the ball rolling on efforts to get Washington under control. Former U.S. Senator Rick Santorum of Pennsylvania testified in favor of a Convention of States resolution. He's one of the primary organizers of the event and has promoted the idea in a number of state legislatures across the country. 34 states would have to adopt a resolution containing the same language to focus on proposed amendments to the U.S. Constitution.
Is the exact language that 19 other states have passed, not a comma different. And the other language we're considering in Wyoming, now that's the exact same thing. So you will be considering language that will limit the subject matter at the convention to the things that are there.
The resolution Santorum is promoting would limit federal spending, create term limits for members of Congress, and rein in the control exercised by federal bureaucrats. The flags at the South Dakota State House will fly at full staff today. Flags across the state have been at half staff, honoring the late President Jimmy Carter. Governor Noem declared they'll be at full staff in honor of President Trump's inauguration today. Flags will return back to half staff tomorrow until January 28th. Great Bear Ski Valley is closed today. The National Weather Service has issued an extreme weather warning for Sioux Falls and surrounding areas. Great Bear will reopen tomorrow as temperatures creep back up into double digits. And in college basketball over the weekend, the Jackrabbits beat Oral Roberts 84-70, but the USD Coyotes lost to North Dakota State 103-77. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Weather brought to you by Intech Cleaning and Restoration. If you need it clean, call the Intech team. IntechClean.com.
Another cold day, mostly sunny to partly cloudy. We could get a couple of scattered flurries from time to time. We'll have a high temperature near zero. Northwest breeze 15 to 25 miles per hour. Keep in mind that wind chill in the minus 20s, minus 30s during this morning. Down to 14 below tonight. Warmer tomorrow, high of 18. From the Kettleland Live Doppler Storm Center, I'm Scott Munn.
The radio station you're listening to now is Kello. Our addresses are AM 1320, FM 105.1, and worldwide at Kello.com.
Remember the November drone hysteria? Newscast after newscast featured wide-eyed panicked New Jersey residents describing giant drones hovering over their homes at night. But now, all of those news stories have disappeared. What happened? I'm Kim Commando for ExpressVPN. Get 4 extra months free at expressvpn.com/Kim. FAA investigators with decades of experience will tell you that the average person cannot determine an accurate altitude or the actual size of anything they see in the sky. They have nothing to reference. Nighttime makes things even more difficult. Panicked residents claim drones the size of school buses were seen every night, but a drone the size of a school bus would be bigger and noisier than any police helicopter, and no one ever produced videos or photographs to back it all up. So what were they? hobby drones, lots of them. You can look at this as perhaps the biggest practical joke played on the most people ever. Stay tech ahead with my newsletter. Sign up at getkim.com. Using the internet without ExpressVPN is like leaving your keys in your car while you run into the gas station. You're probably fine, but what if you come back to see someone driving off with your car? Here's the thing, your data is valuable. Hackers can make up to $1,000 per person selling personal info on the dark web. And every time you connect to an unencrypted network at a cafe, hotel, or airport, any hacker on the same network can gain access to your personal data, unless you use ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN creates a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. Just fire up the app and click one button to get protected. ExpressVPN works on all devices, phones, laptops, tablets, and more, so you can stay secure on the go. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/Kim. That's expressvpn.com/Kim to get an extra 3 months free. expressvpn.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Callow News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Anderson picture and combination windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and light in the bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
ABC Seamless. Are you tired of chronic pain, fatigue, and sleepless nights caused by fibromyalgia? Discover relief with hyperbaric oxygen therapy at Midwest Hyperbarics. Don't let fibromyalgia control your life. Visit Midwest.
It's tax time. If you need help, call Nest Tax and Bookkeeping Service. Voted your local best for 19 years in a row. Nest Tax is locally owned and professionally staffed with enrolled agents and CPAs who are ready to put their knowledge to work for you. Nest Tax is open extended hours and weekends at 2 convenient Sioux Falls locations to serve you. Now, the IRS says don't paper file or send in checks. Go to Nest Tax to e-file your return and use direct deposit or direct debit. If you suffered loss due to severe weather in 2024, you may be able to deduct that loss on your tax return. Make an appointment with Nest Tax to see how this loss might impact you. Call Nest Tax today or schedule with them online at nesttax.com. That's nesttax.com. You're more than just a number at Nest. Locally owned, locally known, locally the best.
Dakota is one big question mark.
What's it gonna be like today?
How bad are the roads?
Will I be able to wrestle my kid into those snow pants?
Get most of the answers you want with up-to-the-minute forecast of the latest road conditions on Callow News Talk 1320.
.638. Oh, it is cold this morning, 8 below. It feels like 27 below. And of course, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which means New York Stock Exchange will be closed today in observance of the holiday. Also, there'll be no postal service today with the exception, I think, of a Priority Express mail. But so post office locations will be closed. Federal Reserve banks will be closed. In fact, most banks will be closed today for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday today. All right, let's move on, see what's going on this morning.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Well, the top trending story is Donald Trump holding his Make America Great Again victory rally on the eve of the inauguration. He had a number of performers there. Kid Rock, Billy Ray Cyrus, Lee Greenwood, the Village People. So it was pretty crazy. Trump energized his supporters, talked about his goals of the second term. He thanked all those who helped him, I should say. Trump said, "We won." He said, I'm thrilled to be back with so many friends, supporters, and true American patriots on the eve of taking back our country. That's what we're going to do, take back our country. Tomorrow at noon, the curtain closes on 4 long years of American decline, and we begin a new day of American strength and prosperity, dignity, and pride. Said once and for all, we're going to end the reign of a failed and corrupt political establishment in Washington, a failed administration. We're not going to take it anymore, Trump said. We're going to bring back law and order to our cities. We're going to restore patriotism to our schools, get radical left woke ideologies the hell out of our military and out of our government. I hope we can. Seriously, it's easier said than done. I fear. We're going to make America great again, Trump said. We put America first, and it all starts tomorrow. Keep in mind, this was yesterday. When I raised my hand on the Bible to be sworn in, he said, we'll be sworn in tomorrow. We're all going to be sworn in together. That's the way I look at it. It's you, greatest of all time. So we will be, so what Trump is saying here, maybe a little clumsily, what he was trying to say is that the American people will be sworn in along with him. So he is saying, not just me, I'm not just being sworn in, it's you and me. Trump is saying, we will be sworn in tomorrow. I'll be representing you as your 47th president of the United States, Trump said last night. Trump also said over the weekend that he plans to visit Los Angeles, probably at the end of this week, sometime later this week. And he said, we're going to be demanding that that water be released from the north into the lower parts of California. And he said, I was going to go, but I thought it would be better if I went. And he said, actually, yesterday, so this few days, again, Saturday, he said this. I was going to go actually yesterday, but I thought it would be better if I went as president. It's a little bit more appropriate, I suspect, Trump said. So he will likely be visiting Los Angeles later this week. At least he seems to be keeping that door open. Donald Trump then also over the weekend participating. He visited Arlington National Cemetery and participated in the wreath laying ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknowns yesterday. J.D. Vance was there as well. And Trump lifted the wreath. It was held by a service member, and they placed it then at the tomb of the unknown soldier. And he stood there in a moment of silence. J.D. Vance did the same. So Donald Trump, as he's sworn in today, will swear into office with 2 Bibles. One was given to him by his mother, and one that Abraham Lincoln used in his own ceremony back in 1861. So Trump's personal Bible was gifted to him by his mother in 1955 to mark his Sunday church primary school graduation. So 2 Bibles that Trump will be sworn in on today. Nothing requiring that the president be sworn in on a Bible, but Trump is using 2. One, a very personal Bible, and the other, again, the Bible that Abraham Lincoln used in his own ceremony. Also, Donald Trump apparently launching his own cryptocurrency meme coin ahead of his inauguration. This happened Friday. So he announced the launch of his own crypto token. And it looks like it's Trump, but it's a dollar sign followed by Trump. That's the coin, dollar sign followed by Trump. So in less than 24 hours, the value had risen from just a few cents to $33.87. May not sound like much. That was a gain of over 18,000%. Wow. Wow. All right. Also, Donald Trump's incoming administration plans to conduct a large-scale deportation raid in Chicago this week. That's according to the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. Times reports raids could start as soon as tomorrow. The Times said the agency told their personnel that the plan was tied to Donald Trump's policy priorities. The Journal says that between 1 to 200 ICE officers will carry out the operation, which will last through the week. So Chicago is one of the so-called sanctuary cities. They've been told time and time again. They've been told. Tom Holman has been out there saying, we will help you. We will help you, but don't stand in our way. And so that is set to begin likely tomorrow. That's been reported on over the last few days. Also, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance yesterday met with his Chinese counterpart. According to CBS, and they discussed a range of topics, including fentanyl, balancing trade, regional stability. They said I think this was a statement that they had released. So this is Han Zheng from China. And Han is in Washington for Donald Trump's inauguration today, one of several foreign officials expected to attend Trump's inauguration. Also, TikTok restoring service in the U.S. So it was barely more than 12 hours after TikTok went dark in the U.S. TikTok came back online and they released a statement thanking Donald Trump. And they said that Trump provided the necessary clarity and assurance to our service providers that they will face no penalties providing TikTok to over 170 million Americans. So we'll see where it goes from here, TikTok and Donald Trump delaying their, that a law that had been passed by Congress, delaying this for 60 to 90 days. Also, the first Israeli hostages being released over the weekend. And it was pretty disgusting right up until the end. Hamas, what they were, it's just absolutely infuriating. They had these hostages posing with so-called like gift bags. Yeah, they were far from it. Photos of their time in captivity and all of the just absolute nonsense. Also trending this morning, Alexandra Pelosi, who was Nancy Pelosi's daughter, has called out First Lady Jill Biden and suggested that Lady McBiden, so that's a play, it's a reference to Macbeth, not to McDonald's. So I just want to make sure you're really clear, because when I saw that, when I glanced at for McBiden, no, it's not a reference to McDonald's. It's a reference to Macbeth, which should be Mac Biden, not Mick Biden. Just, for those. But she said, if I was Lady McBiden, I put on my big girl pants, play the long game, and think about my husband's legacy. This is after Jill Biden had made some talking about, fallout between her and Nancy Pelosi and disappointed and all of this. I told you that on Friday. That story was trending on Friday. So now you've got Alexandra Pelosi pushing back. She said there aren't that many people left in America who have something nice to say about Joe Biden, and Nancy Pelosi is one of them. Yeah, that's part of her problem, I think, isn't it? But also a secret tunnel it's underneath the United States-Mexico border. It was discovered in the last few weeks, will be sealed off by Mexican and American authorities as Donald Trump takes office today. So this tunnel was found on January 9th. Now, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Donald Trump getting set to take office, and suddenly this tunnel is discovered. I'm sure that's a coincidence. I'm just absolutely sure it has nothing whatsoever to do with Donald Trump getting ready to take office. It was hidden in a storm sewer system, and there are indications it may have been used by human traffickers, CBS reports. So the tunnel measures about 1,000 feet, has lighting, ventilation, reinforced to stop collapses, according to Mexican officials. American officials say a similar level of sophistication was present on the Texas side. So just amazing, isn't it? January 9th, just days before Donald Trump's inauguration. Well, look what we found. I have a really hard time believing that. Also, there are stories about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., that he tried to stop the federal rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine 6 months after it began. And you got people melting down on this. I mean, a number of the news agencies are just having a meltdown because 6 months after the COVID-19 vaccine began, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was out there trying to get it stopped, and somehow that's supposed to be alarming to us. You changed your mind about the COVID-19 vaccine? I think a lot of us have as time has gone on. Took us a little bit longer maybe to get there than it did Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So the media is making much of that. And I think in particular because, his hearings will be coming up soon. Also, there's a story about the national security threats that have been made. And they increased under the Biden administration. Major arrests, indictments, guilty pleas recently announced in Virginia, North Carolina, and Florida. So in Virginia, a former CIA analyst pled guilty Friday to retaining and transmitting top secret national defense information. He was indicted by a grand jury, and how in the world, CIA analyst, this is the problem with our federal government. All right, some other stories that are trending this morning. Let's take a look at the NFL. The Chiefs advance to their 7th straight AFC championship. So and they're saying controversial officiating sparks an outcry in their win over the Texans, but the Chiefs advancing Also, you had the Commanders in a stunning 45-31 upset over the top-seeded Lions to reach the NFC title game. So lots of excitement in the NFL. And so let's go to the world of where there's little excitement. President Joe Biden pardoned 5 people yesterday, including late civil rights leader Marcus Garvey, commuted the sentences of 2, the White House said in a statement. I see that he did issue some of these preemptive pardons. Also, that he did. I'm not seeing anything on that, but I heard that on Fox News Radio earlier this morning. Also, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen telling a Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Friday, federal government will reach its debt ceiling tomorrow. That's what she said. So Donald Trump taking charge of a federal government that will reach the debt limit the day after he's sworn in. Also, today, although a lot of Americans will be celebrating, I just think many, many Americans are hopeful to be celebrating. Not all. Thousands of mainly female protesters have descended on Washington to protest Donald Trump's inauguration today. It turns out the crowd is only about a tenth of the 500,000 who turned out for the Women's March in 2017. So it's been rebranded the People's March. Is that because there aren't enough women that want to go? That they've rebranded it. So they're out there. And that's a look at the stories that are trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Again, it's very cold this morning. 8 below. It feels like 27 below. And you're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
In Kello at 107.9. If you're in the Sioux Falls Metro, try us at FM 105.1.
Well, thank you so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. Please come back at 9:30 for the 4th hour. I'll see you then. You take care. Have a great Monday. And again, it's a special day today. I think a lot of us are looking forward to Trump's inauguration today. Take care.
If it's winter, the warm floor toasts my feet while I read the morning paper. This